We are back today, guys, on Fog Gaming. Now, we've got Collider with a list. They've got 10 survival horror video games that would apparently make great, scary movies. We're going to go through the list and see if we agree. Welcome back to the channel. Like I said, it's Collider. It's 10 survival horror video games. Let's get into it. And let's see if these video games would transition into good movies. Because sometimes we see it doesn't work. Sometimes movies get made into games. Sometimes games get made into movies. More often than not, I would say it's a failure. But we have had some, classic remakes that have been transitioned into either gaming or into movies. And it has worked. So let's go through this list and we'll see if we think these 10 would make it. So up first, we have Lethal Company. Initially released in late 2023, Lethal Company is a cooperative survival horror video game set in retro future. In the game, up to 4 players form a team and explore a map on a foreign moon. The aim is to team up, collect scrap, which can be sold for profit. Unfortunately, the scrap that the players are looking for is scattered around the most dangerous structures, brimming with traps and murderous alien creatures. Players who don't get back to the ship in time will be left behind if they haven't already been murdered. Okay, you know what? That actually sounds pretty decent. I will check that game out, but I have not seen it. I've not played it, but it sounds anything to do with space and aliens can automatically, in my opinion, be made into a movie. So I'm actually going to check this game out, and who knows, maybe we'll see a playthrough of it on the channel. Count number 9, we have Inscryption, which, again, unfortunately, another game that I've just not heard of or seen. Despite not being a shoot-'em-up RPG or an open-world survival challenge, Inscryption is definitely one of the most compelling horror games of the last few years. The roguelike deck builder traps built with the player in the cabin with a mysterious otherworldly figure named Lishi. While sitting across from Lishi at this table, the player needs to build a library of cards and best him in one-to-one combat. So, okay, a bit of a strange one. We're playing a card game. Nah, for me, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no to that. Up next, we have Phasmophobia. Phasmophobia is proof that being a Ghostbuster is probably not as fun as it seems. The game, which was released in 2020, is a cooperative horror game which sees 4 players taking on the role of horror investigators from a first-person perspective. Okay, seems a little bit more darker, seems a little bit more horror-themed than, let's say, a movie like Ghostbusters. Could this work? I mean, possibly, but yeah, I mean, the picture looks scary, so, I mean, it could work, it could be a success, but for me, I don't know, I'd say maybe. Maybe this one could work. Up next, we have number 7, Fran Bow, and you know what, Fran Bow, and again, it's a puzzle. I'm just going to say no. I think puzzle games, like, how can we take this seriously? Just look at this. How can we make a movie from that? I mean, are you shitting me? It's a straight up no as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, definitely not. Up next, we have Dredge. I mean, again, I'm looking at the graphics here. Playing as a small and charming fishing boat, Dredge allows players to catch fish, upgrade equipment, explore high seas. What may sound like a charming game for a Sunday afternoon is in fact much more sinister. Again, I'm just looking at the graphics. I can't take that seriously. I'm sorry. Maybe it's good, but nah, for me, I'm going to say no. Little Nightmares. Isn't this like a Little Big Planet sort of game? I thought we're actually going to have really good horror games on this list, but for some reason, we don't seem to have that. I'm going to say no to Little Nightmares, just a strange looking game. Not really interested. Escape the Backrooms. Escape the Backrooms is a co-op exploration game that invites players to try and escape the mysterious back rooms. I mean, I guess trapped somewhere, trying to escape, that always sort of works. Confined area. I mean, it could be, but it just looks a bit bland. The game doesn't look that great, but I mean, who knows? Inside, looks like we've got more horror. Again, it's another puzzle platform. I ain't interested in that. Outlast, haven't played, heard a lot about it. Outlast sees players take on a role of Miles Upshur, an investigative journalist exploring a rundown psychiatric hospital in Colorado. Unfortunately for Miles, the hospital is inhabited by dangerous and homicidal patients. The player takes on a first-person perspective as they make their way through the environment, trying to survive while also gathering vital information. Yeah, that could work. I mean, but definitely, Outlast could be a horror movie for sure. And then in first place, they've got Resident Evil 4. And obviously Resident Evil 4 works because we've already seen Resident Evil movies. Now, are the Resident Evil movies great? I would argue no. But that doesn't mean that they couldn't be made into movies. It just means that they haven't done a good job of it. But Resident Evil games could be copied into movies or series. I think you could just take the games and literally copy them Obviously, you would need to add in more dialogue, you need to add in more interaction between humans, and you get rid of a lot more gameplay. But if you just took the foundations and the basics and pretty much just did a full, a full swap. If you just covered the game, if you just copied the games into like movie format, but with less gameplay, then yeah, absolutely, they would work as great survival horror games. So anyway, guys, that's the list. I agree with a few. There's a couple not sure about, but the puzzle ones, not for me. I just don't really think puzzle games would really work in horror movies. Now, I guess you could argue like Saw and things are puzzle games, but I mean, the puzzle games that we're seeing in these games, they look very childlike, kid-like, so I don't know how they transition into horror. But yeah, guys, that's it. Catch you in the next one. Beanfog Gaming. Thanks for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let me know down below which horror game do you think would best work out as a horror movie. Let me know what game you think would be best made into a movie, and I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, peace.